Welcome to the second half of the video going through how to journalize, post, and prepare a trial balance. So up to this point we have done all of our journal entries. Now sometimes what I do is I will take my journal entries and put them into Excel so that I can actually refer back and forth between Connect and Excel so that I can make sure that I have all my entries the way I need them. Okay? So let's go back to Connect. And now we're moving on to part C, where I'm actually going to be posting my entries into my T accounts. So my first entry happened on June 1st, and it's going to be cash and capital stock. A debit to cash, credit to capital stock. So June 1st, it was a debit to cash. And then I need to credit capital stock. So here's my capital stock. Again, it was June 1st, and it's going to be a credit for $60,000. Okay. So this is a brand new company, so that's why you'll see that there's no beginning balance. The next entry is aircraft. Aircraft, it happened on June 2nd, and it's a debit for $220,000. I had a credit to cash for that entry. So you got to make sure you put it in the right column. Okay, so there's my credit. And then I had a credit to notes payable for $180. Notes payable, it's a credit for $180. All right. My next entry is rent expense, debit $2,500, and cash credit $2,500. On June 4th. So June 4th, I have a credit to cash for $2,500 and a debit to maintenance expense for $2,500. The next one is debit accounts receivable 8320. Oh, what was the date? 15th. 8320. And the credit was party revenue. I'm sorry, aerial revenue. Credit 8320. Next entry, salaries, expense, and cash. So it's a credit to cash, 5880. And it was on June 18th. Sorry, June 15th. And salaries, expense, debit. Okay. Next entry, maintenance expense and cash. So again, it's a credit to cash, debit to expense, June 18th. $1,880. Maintenance expense. Sorry, I put this in the. What was this? $2,500 was rent expense, not maintenance. See, it's very easy to confuse yourself. So June 4th, we got to fix that entry, $2,500, and then this one is actually here, 1890 for June 18th. Sorry if I confused you there. All right, June 25th, we finally got cash payments of $4,910. And our accounts receivable balance went down. It's a credit. So you'll see that of the $8,320 that we billed, we got $4,910. Therefore, we're still owed $3,410. Okay. Now we earned more revenue, and we got another accounts receivable on June 30th. It's going to be a debit $16,450, and revenue is going to be the credit, and it was $16,450. $9,450. We had salaries expense of $6,000, and that's a credit. Sorry, debit. $6,000. The credit is cash because we had to pay that. Then we had fuel expense and accounts payable. So $25.10, the debit is to fuel expense. On June 30th, we had a debit, $25.10, and the credit is going to be accounts payable. Okay, and then finally dividends and dividends payable. Was it $2,500? $2,000. Okay, let's fix that. Got to go back and fix that. 2,000. Typo there. All right. Okay, so dividends payable is going to be a credit of 2,000, and then dividends is a debit. All right. So now we've filled all this out. Now we have to do our balance sheet. So typically what I do here is I write it down so that I don't have to keep flipping back and forth. So I have my different accounts, which are here. I'm actually just going to copy and paste them into Excel. Oops. A little formatting issue there. All right. So these are my different accounts, right? So cash. What I'm going to be looking at is the ending balance. So here for cash, I have 8650, 8650. So don't be afraid to use Excel or a pad and paper to make the input process easier for yourself. Accounts receivable, the ending balance is 19,860. Aircraft, 220,000. Notes payable, 180. Accounts payable, 2510. Dividends payable, 2,000. Capital stock, 60,000. Retained earnings, we will get back to that in just a minute. Dividends, 2,000. Aerial photography, 24,770. Maintenance, 1,890. Fuel expense, 2,510. Salary expense, 11,880. And rent expense, 2,500. All right. So now let's input those in. Okay. So we have cash. I'm going to input the entries first. Sorry, the account names first. So cash, accounts receivable. You want to input them the way that they were provided. So aircraft is next. Then notes payable. Accounts payable. Dividends payable. Retained earnings. Okay. We're not going to have any retained earnings yet because this is a brand new company. Okay. Whoops. So we're going to skip to dividends. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped capital stock, didn't I? Yep, capital stock, then dividends. Then aerial revenue, maintenance expense, fuel expense, salaries, and rent. So all of the expenses. So maintenance expense, salaries expense, fuel, and rent. All right. Now we can input them all in. 8650. Okay, so here's the tough part, right? We didn't mark if it's a debit or credit. However, we know that cash is an asset, so it's going to be a debit balance. And if you're not sure, you can actually go back to part C and add up your debits, subtract your credits, and whichever one is more, you'll know it's a debit or credit, okay? So this is an asset, it's a debit. Accounts receivable is an asset, it's a debit. Aircraft, asset, debit. Notes payable is a liability, it's a normal credit balance because you have to credit the account to increase it. So whatever you do to the account to increase it, that's their normal balance. Assets are always debit normal balances, liabilities are credit, equity is credit. Okay, so accounts payable is a liability, it's a credit. Dividends payable is a credit. Capital stock is a credit. Retained earnings is a credit. Excuse me. Dividends is tricky. Dividends reduces equity. Therefore, its normal balance is a debit balance. Aerial revenue increases equity, so it's going to be a credit. Expenses decrease equity, so it's going to be a debit. Okay? So now we have identified our normal balances. Now we know which column to put them in. So 19,860, aircraft 220, notes payable is going to be a credit of 180. Accounts payable 2510, it's a credit. Dividends payable we said is a credit. Capital stock we said is a credit. Okay. Dividends we said is a debit balance. Revenue 24,770, credit balance. And then all of the expenses are debits. 1890, 2510, 11,880, and 2,500. Okay. So hopefully, if we did this correctly, the total of our debit column is going to equal the total of our credit column. Yes, they match. We got all our entries in correctly. We put them all correctly as debits or credits. Oh, I'm off $10. So where's my typo? I have a typo somewhere. Okay, let's go back to part C. 8650, 19,860, 220, 180, 2510, 2000, 60, 2000, 24, 770, 1890, 2510, 11,880, and 2,500. Huh. I have a typo somewhere. Okay, I found it. It's 1890 in the cash. So our cash is actually 8640. 8640. See? I knew that I had an error in my data input because my debits and credits didn't match. All right? So I found my typo, and that's why I was off $10. So that's a red flag if these two don't match. You have to go back and double check your data entry or that you got your debits and credits right. And then finally, we're going to total up our assets, our liabilities, and owner's equity. All right. So remember, these are assets. So I put it in Excel so I can easily add them up. So here's my sum, 248,500. So what do we already know? We know that our liabilities and our owner's equity have to equal 248,500. Okay. My liabilities are here, and it's going to be 184,510. So we just did our liabilities. So here's where it gets tricky for owner's equity. Owner's equity, if you remember, is made up of our capital stock, retained earnings, dividends, and our net income. All right. So because we're trying to add all these up, I left credits as positive numbers and I actually changed the debits to negative signs. So we're going to have the sum of our capital stock, retained earnings, dividends, and our revenues and expenses. That's going to give me my owner's equity. Okay, so this is my owner's equity. This is my assets, and then this is my liabilities. Okay, so you could see that the sum of my owner's equity and my liabilities equals the 248,500, same as assets. All right, so let's finalize the problem. 63,990. Okay, and then we're done. So that's how you analyze, journalize, post, and prepare a trial balance based on the work that we've done in week 2. Please let me know if you have any additional questions. Thank you.